But thanks everyone for joining us for this. I'm excited to have Arpit Modi here to talk about understanding the modern supply chain and looking what the next 5 years may look like, which I think is a considerable task to take on right now with all the uncertainty in the world. So kudos for having the courage there, Arpit, on that regard. But a little introduction about Arpit. He's the founder of Ikigai Consultant, and it's a recruitment consultancy and education services agency. And it helps companies find the talent that makes supply chain and operations a competitive advantage, and as he says, not a cost center. So Arpit has over 2 decades of hands-on experience managing complex end-to-end supply chains, and from family-owned size businesses to the Fortune 500 organizations. So before we hand over the floor to Arpit to start his presentation, I would just like Stephanie to maybe talk a little bit about the housekeeping rules of how we'll manage questions and the rest.
Thank you so much, Ryan. So as most of you know, please, for the Q&A, just type your question in the Q&A section and not on the chat. We will answer all the Q&As once the presentation is over. And just keep yourself muted as well, and overall enjoy this incredible webinar we have today for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Stephanie. So without further ado, Arpit, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan, for the introduction. I'm very excited to be part of this wonderful group. So let me start. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
It's perfect.
Awesome, perfect. So today we are going to talk about the complex supply chain, and everybody knows, everybody must have felt the importance of supply chain within the last year. More importantly, after the COVID and things have changed, and inflation and pricing, those are all very much issues we are facing today. So what we are going to do is a little bit about myself. What this? So Ikigai, what I do in Ikigai. So I've spent almost 2 decades in supply chain, as Ryan said, in supply chain and operations, managing very complex, very modernizing a lot of supply chain, end-to-end supply chains. And I really love, my passion for supply chain forced me to start this consultancy company where we improve the performance of supply chain either by talent or by the technology. And it's always supply chain is all about customer, how you are improving life of your customers. So that's what we do at Ikigai. It's a very short brief introduction. So you must have seen, so this is like what we see today in 2022, most of 2021 and 2022, backlogs and capacity issues. Those are the one where we have seen the material shortage or the port congestion. So railways not available, containers not available. We used to pay $1,200 for a container. Now we are paying $18,000. And now, as of today, it dropped down again to 2,000. And it looks like we'll go again 3-digit very soon if the trend continues. Lack of trucks, drivers, new laws coming in for drivers. So a lot of capacity issues we have seen. Lack of skilled workers. This is number one. If you are into active supply chain and operations, what happened here is a lot of people lost because of fatigue or burned out. They lost a lot of good workers. Supply chain worked overtime. They never seen so much challenge in the history of supply chain like what we have seen in last 2 years. So everywhere across all industries, there's a big problem of skilled workers. And we'll talk a little bit more about what happened and why we need to address this issue. The third one is unsteady global relationship. So wars happening, diplomatic relationship is going completely different way, like China and the US, or China and other countries like Taiwan and China. So there are a lot of diplomatic relationship going completely different ways. There are small wars, long wars, COVID policy, zero COVID policy, as we read in the news. It's happening in China, and China being the big hub of all manufacturing activity, it's impacting the supply chain across the board, and it's one of the reason for inflation as well. What we see, a lot of free trade and unfair trade advantages are coming up. And by the way, this is not going away. This is going to be our future for next few years. All 5 points, what I'm mentioning, is going to be very consistent throughout. We'll see the impact might be a little bit lower or less than the previous years or in the future year, but though this 5 impact will be still there for at least next 3 to 5 years. Trade agreements. So now nearshoring, offshoring, friendshoring. So now there are a lot of terms are happening, especially in North America. Now people are thinking, why should we pay for such a long lead time? Why we should pay for such an uncertainty in my supply chain? Because that's directly impacting my business, my profitability, my bottom line, and my people. So those are the considerations now people are making. Whether 2023 outlook doesn't look so promising, we'll see the extreme weather. That's the prediction, short-term prediction. We can see the floods or the droughts in Asia. That's killing the crop, and they are putting the price high. The urea price going up and down. A flood, too much of rain in so many areas like Southeast Asia to African region. They will see a lot of unbalance happening there. And as everybody know and experience, inflation, the interest rate, the bond market, US dollar fluctuation, because US is still one of the major currency which drives the international business. And this is not going to go away in short term, absolutely not going to go away. We are still unsure whether business can afford which kind of, which rate will be a fixed indicator that now everything is stabilized, maybe 5%, 6%, 10%, 2%. We don't know yet because everything is so dynamic right now. The price keeps changing, and there are a lot of uncertainty. People don't know whether to make an investment. Should I buy a house? Should I expand my capacity? Should I grow? Because I don't know how the consumer behavior is going to react. And this is, by the way, whole industry. Everybody is there, not just the retail or not just a small manufacturing. If you look at mining industry, or if you look at forestry, wood, everybody is going under exactly same scenario, and this is not going to go away. So what happened? Why we are discussing this? Because this is the direct impact on bottom line. So there are a lot of thoughts going on in supply chain for last few years, and as I was mentioning to Ryan just before we started this, is I went to a very nice event called Supply AI in downtown Toronto, and there were a lot of things discussed, how to mitigate this risk, how we can insulate our supply chain, the fundamental of supply chain, so that we don't see much fluctuations. We can predict our future like we used to do before 2018. 2018, 2019 was a big turning point, and we'll see after 5 years it changed how we behave. So one of the answer we are going to see in next 5 years is technology. So, and I love this quote. This quote says the future is already here. It's not just very evenly distributed. The future is already even. People are already working on that. There are so many things going ahead of us, and we don't know what exactly going on or what exactly going to impact us as of today, but it will definitely going to impact us tomorrow. The future is already here. So supply chains digital transformation is going to go big away. Now I'm coming to the prediction what's going to see based on the 5 issue we discussed, how people are mitigating everywhere. So supply chain transformation is going to take a big leap, very, very big leap. And now they are literally on the steroids to make it happen. So we'll see a very big rise of artificial intelligence in supply chain. We'll see machine learning. That's the second icon here is the machine learning for supply chain or operations. This is going to be our blockchain. So this is going to be very integrated, and I highlighted some points here. You can see 5 highlights. This is literally as of last week. It's not from any of the previous presentation. If you Google it, if you look at the news, you will see people are investing millions and millions of dollars. Example, Scale AI, they are one of the biggest venture capitalists to put money into AI platform for supply chain and operations. They just put $25 million out last week because they want to make it in Canada. They want to make it more resilient supply chains. Microsoft they have a very good platform called Microsoft Dynamics for supply chain, and they are now going to a completely different level. So they are combining a lot of old platform with a new supply chain, exclusive supply chain platform, which includes artificial intelligence and machine learning, both for logistics and inventory problems. So they've seen a big opportunity here. Sustainability. You guys are the best one to know what sustainability means for supply chain. So they are putting. There are a lot of companies. I think there are even in Toronto there are more than 50 or 60 companies now working on technology with AI to make supply chain more sustainable. There are a lot of firms now. The last one, the news came out this week, is Amazon is now replacing AI with the recruiters. And why I put it here is it's not, I'm afraid of my job is going out, but now what they are going to do is they are going to put AI platform where the actual human intelligence are completely out. Recruiting is a function where you really need experience to find the right job for the right person and the talent and the developing, and they are putting they are actually working on this. They let go around 700 people in US from their recruitment team, and they are putting AI. How they are working on AI, just to give some idea, is what they're going to do is they check their best performers reviews, and they are going to compare a resume or the interview questions they are going to ask and compare whether this is a good fit or not. So they are using AI to make the new move. Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things. Canada is already ahead. We are one. Canada and US are the leaders in IIoT, and we'll see a lot of industries coming out with IIoT in next 2 to 3 years, where they have to manage either their fleet, or let's say I've seen one very excellent example where the forest management, they plant a tree and it's all tracked throughout the life cycle of a tree, and everything from planting, the nutrition going in, the type of wood, everything is tracked by Internet of Things or AI somewhere involved within it. So that means future is already here. If we are not investing time or money into this technology, it's going to be very difficult to compete. One of the main fundamentals of all this technology we talked about, like AI or machine learning or blockchain, analytics going to play a big role. Right now, the older days, it used to be called insights or forecasting in different meaning, but analytics is going to be the base of working under AI or machine learning. Unless you have the right type of data, unless you know what exactly you want to do with the data, that's going to be very difficult to move around with the technology. The good thing about technology is it can work wonders. But the challenging part with technology is it cannot do everything for you. It requires lots of investment, but you still need people to run the technology. You need to feed in the intelligence to the technology so it can run the show. So what happens is that that's going to be 4 types of analytics. We'll see more and more. And example like Walmart already using this. There are few industry already using this. The first one is called descriptive. That means it says what happened. So exactly, I have the set of data. I'm looking at the past and I'm seeing what happened, what exactly happened, whether my inventory moved, what's my return on capital. So it's all based on already thing happened. It's all past. Diagnostic is why it happened. So if I bought inventory or I did certain job, what caused to spike, what exactly happened. So now I'm answering why. I'm checking the answering with the diagnostic. The next 2 are very much dealing with AI or data learning or machine learning, is the predictive. What will happen? So if I'm seeing this is what happened, this is the reason it happened, now can I predict my future? So in some cases, AI will predict, okay, this is what going to happen. So if I say trade regulation, I put in the tariff I'm going to put in. Now the next pandemic comes in, we'll be better prepared because now we have the data for 2-3 years. and we have seen what exactly going to happen. So not a black swan event, but a kind of similar event. Let's say flu comes out. We had H1N1 in 2008, 2009, 2010. If something similar happens, now we have learned and we can input the data. So it's a predictive analytics. And then we have the prescriptive. What should I do? That's where the machine learning, AI, those comes into the picture, where the platforms are investing a lot of money and it's giving you what should you do. So we have seen a lot of uncertainty. We are going to see a lot of uncertainty. It's not going to stop for next 3 to 5 years as far as I can see. So what we need is the prescriptive tools where it says exactly this is what happened, this is why it happened, this is what I think it's going to happen, and now I have to take certain steps. Meaning now I'm launching a product, I can run my data model and see which months will be the best months to run a campaign or to launch a product or to do a move or open up a new branch or a distribution center. So my strategy is going to change every time when I'm running the data. So unless we have the analytics right, the quality of the data, this 4 elements, except for blockchain, this 3 elements is going to have a lot of issues working to the most efficient time. One example I can give you is ERP systems. When the ERP system rose from, this is like 20, 30 years back, where SAP came in, BAN came in, a lot of platforms came in, people invested a lot of money, companies invested hell amount of money, and they are still investing, but they don't know, they don't have the people to run the show. So the change management become a big issue. If you ask any of your colleague, or if you have experience within supply chain or any ERP system, you know what I'm talking about. People are frustrated. People get frustrated because they didn't knew how to utilize this new platform, which looks very nice. It has all the promising systems and processes in place, but they don't know how to move from the legacy system to the new one. So, and they wasted so much of money, and the technology moves so fast. So you are just getting familiar to one version of the platform. You invested $1 million, and then suddenly after 3 or 4 years, a better one comes in, and the new person comes in, or the old one say, "Oh, my situation is not so much nice, so I cannot utilize my platform. Should I invest in the new one?" So you have seen a lot of platform increasing their capability as they come out, but there are still legacy systems. They cannot talk to the new technology. So blockchain, I specifically touched this blockchain because I took an example from food industry, but this blockchain is going to impact us as a supply chain or supply chain operations or any other areas. So what is exactly blockchain? Not everybody knows about blockchain, how exactly it works. And Walmart is the best example. They are already using this technology. So what happens here is supplier uploads and data. So if you go to the very first column, supplier uploads and data to a input. So in this case, of order. So food comes in, they see there is no issues. They put a RFID tag onto the cow, and it registers the very first source of the meat. So meat is the ultimate outcome. So they are checking the cow here at the very first stage. So now it goes to the producer. Cow life cycle moves to the next stage. It goes to the producer. It cuts and it prepares the meat. And as soon as it does all this work, he's going to add his own information, taking the supplier information, and creates a code onto the packaging. So there is a traceability. Now he can go back and check where this cow come from, what the food was intake was. So everything detailed at this stage is visible. Now that piece, that shipment of beef goes to the distributor. He receives the notification already that this beef is on the way. He knows about how it's going to store. Every meat has a different kind of, I'm just giving you an example, but let's say any material will have a different storage rules. So he can pick and choose already before advance notice that this one goes here, this one goes here. He adds his own detail. He creates one more block. It goes to the 3PL. He 3PL, because 3PL deals with millions of products, they review the instruction, they understand what needs to be done, and they know where the delivery is going to come from and where it's going to go out, what's the origin, what are the complications the compliance needs to be. So he adds his own information, creating one more block. It goes to retailers, he runs the machine learning, he knows what's the demand, whether a weekend it's more demand or between the weeks where he needs to refill his stock. So he provides all this detail. In this beautiful example, what happens is retailer put every Thursday you have seen in President's Choice as an example, they add a lot of recipes to their apps. So if you are buying this particular meat, here is the recipe. You scan that QR code and it will give you a nice recipe for you there. So it's all blockchain. And now next one from retailer or a store, they have the full transparency. Now if a store, something goes wrong or something needs to be rectified, now every single partner within this chain have the very clear visibility on what happened, when happened, and why it happened. And they can go to the root cause of the problem. And as a customer don't use blockchain, but the advantage for customer is he can scan the QR code and now he gets the information. What's the origin of this particular beef in this example, or any material? What's the origin, where it came from, what day it was produced, where it traveled, what the different points it traveled, and he can enjoy the recipes, right? So blockchain is going to change our world in a lot more better way. A lot of investments happening. One of the other example I can share here is what one of the major retailer done is when they receive the invoice, they used to have 400 people matching the invoice with their warehousing or the DC. So every time shipment comes in, the poor people needs to go each PO, see the warehouse receipt and match with their inventory on the system. And it takes a lot of time. Payment gets delayed, they have to pay penalty or the interest, and supplier gets frustrated because then they are dealing with the high volume of money here. So they thought, okay, forget about all this. Let's pick my top 20 suppliers and I'm going to implement this technology. So they implemented this technology throughout their accounting department. So as soon as the goods are manufactured, the first block is created, and every single step they kept on adding what you call the blocks. So when it receives to their warehouse, the warehouse receiving comes to an end, they can, accounting department 1,000 kilometers away from here, they can go and check everything in line. They didn't have to verify the quantity or anything because they can see everything on the screen. Everything is encrypted. They now work with only 15 people now. So from 400 to 15 people for top 20 suppliers. So imagine this can go on different areas, how much efficiency we can gain. One of the misconceptions we have here is, once we adopt technology, people are going to lose the job. And I always counter argue. I don't agree with that. Technology will always transform the labor market. It won't replace AI or a machine learning won't replace the professionals. The people will be replaced by professionals who knows AI and MI. So it's a little bit interconnected. So all this technology is going to play a very big role in next 5 years. Another one very big risk and highlight of our topic today is the breaches, privacy. Everybody here is very much concerned about the privacy, how we are keeping our privacy intact, privacy is not just your consumers' privacy. It is about your employees, how much data we are collecting, how much data HR is collecting, your annual reviews kind of thing, their special needs, if they are belonging to a very specific group of people, all this data. Best example is COVID vaccine. Whole lot of company collected this data and nobody knows. Nobody can certainly say by way of documentation that their data is safe, secure. And now when the use of that data is no longer needed, how we are going to discard it? There is no written policy saying, okay, we are doing this steps, and this is how we discard it. Here is the certificate of destruction. It's all done and clear. And we are going to see this more and more as the supply chain is going to get more interrelated, more complicated with this technology. So there are three parts of privacy and breach and compliances within. I'm just giving you example of supply chain because people think, oh, supply chain and operations has nothing to do with privacy. Why? I'm not taking anybody's data. We are taking data as a business in one form or another. Every business collects data. Otherwise, in today's world, you won't be competitive if you don't collect data. Either it's employee, your customer, your IP addresses, your website, somewhere you are collecting the data. So first part, people get confused about cybersecurity. Oh, I have a good cybersecurity team. Cybersecurity is the system it's an ecosystem to take care of your infrastructure. It just makes sure that nobody from outside is coming to your whole network of system. Privacy is a little bit different. Privacy means how you are protecting the data. So you can have a great cybersecurity program, but you can have a very poor privacy or data protection policies. So cybersecurity is pure work of IT. They are professional in that, and they manage every part of cybersecurity. Privacy is by law, even, and we'll come to that. Even by law, it's everybody's responsibility. It's not just one department or one head of department. It's everybody's it's a responsibility. And it's a sensitivity. So unless we try to recognize, we start recognizing the importance of privacy and have a culture throughout our organizations that privacy is very important to us, just like safety is prime concern. It's a very popular slogan everywhere. Is safety is our priority. It needs to be privacy is also our priority moving forward. Compliances. So what happened? People in different countries, different continent see privacy in a completely different way. What we see in US and what we see in North America and what we see in Europe is completely different aspect. They have very strong law called GDPR. We have Canada is unfortunately lagging behind one of the bottom list on the G7 countries on the compliances, and now they are going to revamp. So we are coming up next year. You will see a very strict law compared to GDPR coming into effect within Canada, and this new law is going to cover artificial intelligence and machine learning processes as well. So it's not that we are going to move it. So whatever I talked before, it's by law, you have to have process in place to make sure that you are maintaining privacy and you are doing data protection for everybody involved. So it's going to be a big part. And now the law in Canada making CEO responsible, directly responsible for the compliance. There is a provision for a term in the jail if nobody is taking care of it, or CEO shows the ignorance on the privacy part. So that's a proposal right now, and it's going to convert into law. There are 16 different laws world over to make sure that everybody is compliant to privacy of their citizens. So there are, as I said, there are multiple laws, right, throughout, and depends on which powerful area you are. If you are in GDPR countries, it's completely different story. They are very strict on that. So it's a local versus international privacy law. CCPA is another one. They're in US, they are coming up with 15 different laws in 2023 for privacy. Plus they are working on an umbrella of law, just like what we are going to do in Canada. So which one is the biggest question as a business operator? Which one is applicable to me? It's very complex. There is no clear answer right now. It a lot depends on the consumer, where the citizenship of that particular person who's suffering from your privacy negligence, that law depends there. So somebody, in simple words, somebody from, let's say, Germany comes to Canada and his privacy has been breached. Let's say you have a CCTV camera and you have not notified him that you are going to record him, then he can go back and GDPR laws will be applicable to your organization. They can file a suit and you have to follow certain regulations within GDPR, even though you are in Canada and you thought, oh, I have nothing to do with GDPR. Same thing happens if a Canadian citizen goes to US or goes to Europe and their privacy is breached, you can come back and sue them as per Canadian laws. So there are a lot of complexity going around. And if you are interested knowing more, let me know and I can provide you a lot of details. And we provide also training in this regard. So what at risk? So why negligence has a price? I always say negligence in privacy is a very big cost, very, very big cost. What at risk? So here are some examples you can see from Bloomberg, Beta News, or CNN Business, and you must have read in a lot of other cases what happened. So basically what happens is it's the poor training for that employee. One password, when they log in, they use the official domain, official login. Let's say Arpit Modi at ikigaiconsultant.ca, I'm using for a site which is now very prone to be breached. Let's say a betting site or a inappropriate adult site. I'm using my official email ID to log in so nobody knows about it. The hackers will come in and bypass your entire cybersecurity because they know your password, they know your login information, and they can come in. And you'll ask a question, Arpit, but we change password, right? The network password we always change. How they know? You change your network password, but there are a lot of softwares where you don't change the password every week. Let's say PDF readers. When you log in, it uses your very old password. So when the hackers goes in, they will use all the sites to come in from that path, and they will log in into your system, and they will set up a software, and they do whatever they need to do. So here 93% of the companies, especially small and medium scale, are at risk for within next 3 or 4 years. It's not question of if I'm going to get breached. It is just question of when, because people are so careless, they don't give any attention. One of the best example I can give you, I've not written here, but if you know Showbiz here in Canada, they had a cyber attack last week. Whole operations is down. They were up, I think 50% system came back this week, Monday, but for full week, they had absolutely zero access to their system. And it's all because of a couple of employees' password were leaked, and it was available in the dark web. Last year, December, exactly this time, we have seen in America, we have seen a shortage of cheese. So the cheese factory out in California, which controls almost 30-40% of the market, they were breached, and cheese were completely out of the market during holiday season. The best one is Colonial Pipeline out in Texas. The entire petroleum supply, it's a big hub, and the entire the entire supply chain for the petroleum product were completely blocked because they couldn't come up with a solution for almost a month. They paid money. They paid money to the hackers. Government agreed to pay because they couldn't solve the problem. So they used Bitcoin. I think 20,000 Bitcoins were paid, and US government put the hackers to get those 20,000 Bitcoin back from the hackers, and they were able to recoup 17,000 Bitcoins, but 3,000 were lost. The whole story is one, negligence, and it can cause a lot of damage to the whole organization. Forget about the new law where you have to pay millions of dollars as a fine, $3 million or 10% of your revenue, global revenue. That's in stake. The CEO will be in jail if they found that you have done nothing, and your reputation. Customers not going to trust you very soon. So there are some development in AI and machine learning as we are talking about the technology. There is a beautiful site called BreachAware. So you can go there, and what you can do is go on the scan side. When you go to breachaware.com, on the left side you will see a tab called Scan. Go and enter your domain name, and it will tell you whether you have seen any breaches or not. So it will tell you the amount of breaches over a period of time if your employee is using that email. So example, if my company name is abc.com, if I put you don't have to write www, just put abc.com, and it will tell me if I have 15 accounts as a breach or 10 accounts as a breach, and then it will tell you which how much sensitive information is out in the dark web for your particular domain name. So I'm using this site a lot. So how the technology works here, that's how I wanted to show you. If you see at the bottom screenshot, it says the name is hidden, but it can give you here employee's particular name. So once you subscribe to the service, it will tell you that Arpit at abc.com, his data has been breached and what's the severity, because I have now my date of birth is out, my email address is out, my gender, my geographic location, my phone number, everything is available on the dark web. That's why you are receiving so much of junk mail, or people are calling, spoofing you over the phone, because all this data is going out and people can buy this data. So now we have the technology available to pinpoint the root cause of the problem. So it's not to punish that particular employee, but to have a proactive step. And you can identify, or you can take, your IT department can change his email or password, or completely delete his account and give him a new account. You can do a lot of different things before big damage might happen. So this way you can have. So on supply chain side, what happens this side also, if you, once you enter your supplier list, it's going to monitor 24/7, because it's machine learning and AI based. It's going to monitor your partners within supply chain, how their privacy policy is going to work, whether they have any breaches or not. And it will give you a heads up saying, okay, your partner has been breached, and the hackers might found a way to come into your system. So it will alert you beforehand. So it's both ways, for you and for your supply chain. So in short, for the technology side, there are four things to take away. It's supply chain and operations getting smarter every day. So you will see new technology coming very fast before even we realize. So we have to start investing our money and talent and everything into those. With technology comes the responsibility. The compliance law are getting more and more stricter with AI and machine learning rules, blockchain or IIoTs. Privacy and data protection will be talk of the town within next 2 to 3 years, as the amount of breaches and the magnitude of the breaches will increase. You will see people now start talking about privacy and data protection. And the fourth point is we have to rethink the talent, because all this technology, we are entering into completely new unknown waters now. And we have to rethink about how we are managing our talent, how we are managing ourselves, or managing our employees. That comes to the second part of my presentation. So talent future, how we see the trend and how it's going to predict is the end of average. Average talent won't survive because of the cost, money, competitiveness. There are a lot of things. So 4 questions, basic questions you need to answer to yourself. Do the people you attract represent the best in the field? Am I able to hire the best of the best for any role within your company, any role, but they are the best? Are they top 15% of the talent, or they are some of the okay crowd? Is maximizing quality of hiring important for your business? Does it make any sense to improve my quality? Because unless you improve, how you are going to attract the best, right? So you have to answer that. And answer might be different for every company. It's not every company will go and follow the same. Are you measuring the return on investment? Because now the salary, the expenses, a cost per employee is so high, you need to start measuring return on investment. What I'm getting back, my quality, how I'm going to justify my spending of money to the organization, to the stakeholders, and then how I'm going to get myself also on the same side, where I'm going to give best return on investment to my companies. And the fourth most important, and everybody says answer this question as an investment, but it's an expense. Is hiring as an expense or an investment? That's a very basic strategic question. Is hiring, I'm going to spend money, I'm looking at an expense. So if you are looking at an expense, you are looking at the efficiency. But if you are looking at the investment, you will look as a return on investment. Completely two different aspects here. And why it's important. So what's your strategy? So your strategy, if I take today's world, it looks like I can divide talent into 3 different parts. That's what I always manage the team. So you have the lower third, 1/3 of the talent out is going to be very mediocre talent. They will not do the great job. So when you are looking at the speed, you will put add on, or you will have anybody in without even experience or expertise, you will take it in. So If it's a maximum speed and the volume, you're looking at 1/3 of the talent size. If it's a efficiency, as I said, if you're looking at efficiency and the expense side, you are at treating mostly a middle third, so 2/3. But the 1/3 is the maximum quality and gives you a return of investment. So it's always divided into 3 different strategy. So on the third one, you are not only calculating ROI or improving quality, but you are raising the talent bar to the next level without paying a significant more amount of money, and I'll show you how. So why tier 1 people makes a difference? What they do differently? If you look at your team, your surrounding, your friends, your relatives, everybody, when they are high performance, you will find these 6 characters. They are talented. They learn very quickly. They've not done it before, but they don't run away from learning something new. They are coaches. They coach regardless of level. They coach others. They even try to create a team environment within themselves. They have a leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is a vision. They provide vision to their colleagues, to their companies. Problem solve. They solve the problem all the time. They love the problem, complex problem, simple problem, but they like to do it. They are fit. They are very good fit within the culture. And by culture means it's not existing culture. They will create a culture where new people will be a good fit. As we evolve with the time, we accept the new technology, we accept the new environment, they will fit within the environment. The most important, I'll say, is motivated. They are very, very motivated, no complainers. They will get the things done 100% of the time. So that means all 6 characters you won't see anywhere within a lower third or mid third. You always have to look for the top 30%. And how the hiring process makes a difference. So this is very simple chart where you have, when you can classify talent into 2 different divisions, highly motivated and fully competent. So if they are into this bracket, that's your star. They know exactly, they know they move the job because they think it's a career move, not just for money or not. I'm just looking for a job. I'm frustrated with my manager and I want to jump in. They won't do that. 2 is I have the skill. It's a safe environment for me. So I'm not so motivated, but I'm fully competent. I know how to do the job. I'll do the job. I'll go home, done. On the bottom one is not so motivated and not so competent. They are biased. They will always have one transaction. They will do one project and go home, and they don't bother about making their life to the next level. They don't want to take their life to the next level. The worst one, I always say, is highly motivated and not competent. They are the politicians of the organizations, and we'll find this anywhere within our environment, that they are super motivated. They are there, they talk to 15 people, but they are not competent. They cannot get the job done. They will throw somebody under the bus all the time, not take the responsibility. They will do a nice presentation, they will do a nice data report, but in actually their performance really sucks. Sorry, my language. So the formula for success, when you're looking for a talent, when you are looking for the new world coming in, what next 5 years going to bring you, is basically, this is a simple formula. Your ability means your candidates can do a technical things either in finance or engineering or supply chain, anywhere. So their ability to do that thing within their field, plus the fit to the culture. If they are really liking their manager, they really like the environment to do that job. If those 2 are correct, then you have the motivation to do the job. It's not just get the job. So most of the time people think, oh, I'll get this job and I'll figure it out how to work with this. It doesn't work that way. The motivation to do the job comes on priority, not the get the job done. And if you have the right combination, if you solve this problem, the result is there won't be any excuses. They will exceed your expectation. They are super motivated. So hiring top 5, this is the formula. When you are looking to hire your next one, make sure that this all combination comes into play. Return on investment. So I love this calculation, and I just did this morning. So how you calculate return on investment? This is very high, 15,000 feet calculation. So let's say your divisional revenue is $500,000. So $5 million, and you have 10 employees. So that means revenue per employee is $500,000. Your gross profit margin is 40%. That means that one particular person is responsible for $200,000 profit. Either they are into administrative work or they are into sales marketing function, but end of the day, everybody is part of sales and marketing because they are supporting that function to grow. So they are responsible for, they account for $200,000 profit. Their compensation is, let's say, $100,000 to be very simplified. So that means every single dollar we spend on their compensation, we are multiplying by 2 times. So if you improve efficiency by only 15%, you hire top 15% talent, you improve 15%, and by statistics, they will their lifetime in the organization will be for 4 years. Return on investment will be 480%. Because even if you say a recruitment fee, either you are paying external recruiter or within your recruitment company, you are spending some money. So you put this expense and you calculate hiring top 15% here, you are ending up with 480% for 4 years. Even if that person stays with you for 2 years, which I doubt, you are getting 240% return on investment when you are hiring top 30%. So here is the statistics. Why I'm emphasizing more and more on this is because the new technology, the new world, what we have seen is already here. And if you don't pay the attention on the talent, how we manage our people flow, the whole investment doesn't work out very well. So 30% of the most qualified candidate will be super passive. So where you are going to search them, they don't want to change the jobs. That's the fact. You can Google it and you will see that. And I put it here to screenshot. There are 10 statistics, but I put highlighted 2 here. 73% of the job candidates are passive job seekers. This report came out this week. So my calculation is exactly perfect, pin drop coming to that size. So 30% most passive candidate, 40% are, okay, let me hear, I'll see, but they won't apply online. They won't apply to anywhere. They are just doing the networking side. 20% of the candidate, they will be actively looking within their network. They'll be telling, hey, if you come across any opportunity, let me know. They will be calling recruiters like me. If you have anything, let me know. And then you will always have a remaining balance 10% who will apply online. That's why when you go on LinkedIn and you can try yourself, go on any job posting and within 1 hour, you will see 100 people applied. But if you go down on LinkedIn and you will see the insights, they'll say VP level or director level people are also applying because there are no takers for them. So they will keep on applying whatever they like it, and they'll figure out how I do the job. So where we find the top 15%. So you have to understand the job. You have to convey, and I'll show you example how to write a job description to attract the top talent. You have to go and check the multiple platforms. You have to check on LinkedIn whether they are active there, association, institute, immigrants. In Canada, immigrants is a big source. People are not utilizing them to a right way. Target, make sure your strategy is only to target the best and passive candidates. If you are targeting passive candidates, you will be above the pool. And 2 questions interview, I always use this. Ask only 2 questions, and that will give you the complete idea of candidate. So coming back to how you find this candidate, so job description. So right now, if you look at job descriptions, it's drafted as person description. You have to have this, you have to this engineering degree, blah, 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 all have. It never says what you have to do. That means if a passive candidate who's really qualified, they won't have that much skill. They've never that much skill, right? So they always progress because with less resources, they outperform a lot of people a lot of the time. That's why they are on the top 30%. So you always have to look. And then if you look at your office and you ask them why you get this job, they will always say, I love this job because this is what I thought I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to become. Not because I have this. This is what I'm going to do for future, maybe for next 3 or 4 years. Focus on the real job. So how you can do this. So when you're writing job description, tell them what exactly will be the outcome after 3 years or first year. Best example is tell them, think about this as a first year anniversary coming up for your new hire, how you are going to reflect back on the year. So you can say, oh, you collaborated with C-level, at very C-level, 500 companies, right? So you develop the relationship. You led the team. You have the product specs, documentation done very properly. You present it to buying groups, work with contractors. So here you are quantifying. You are quantifying the outcome, which means success, not just the haves one. So if you compare what I'm telling to the standard job descriptions, this is completely different mindset change, because the new generation who can run this, they will have a different perspective. So one question you always ask is, I want to know about your most significant career accomplishment. This is the question which tells you a lot of things about the skill set and the competencies. See the pattern, right? You can figure out the pattern, how the pattern is moving, how they've done in the past, they've done the situation, and whether they can do it within my portfolio as well or not, instead of asking the routine questions. Okay, so we come to the last point here is in short, mediocre hire brings no benefit, which especially when you are investing a lot of money into technology. A hiring manager normally focus on doing, top candidate, they do focus on doing and becoming, right? So make sure you have that same vision. What's the ROI? Measuring the quality becomes important, because now it's a lot of investment. Defining the job before the person. Move away from normal job description. Say, grow sales by 20%, launch 20 new program, build a team of 50 people. You are giving specific target to that person, so he inspires to achieve a lot of things rather than just getting confused. And this is for all passive candidates. Perfect. So thank you. This is my contact detail. I'll pass on again. But if you have any questions. Stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Arpit, for your presentation here. Just want to kind of mention to the audience there, if they do have a question for Arpit, to put it in there. Before Stephanie goes to questions, just one of the ones I wanted to kind of talk about maybe is a lot of companies in the industry here end up dealing with long lead times. And so you're caught in this inflationary kind of, I'll call it a margin squeeze, right? Because you make a deal now with predicted prices, and now you've inflated away your margin because your cost inputs have been delayed by the time you deliver that project. So it doesn't seem to be, the order book seems full, but now it's really the risk of that, I'll call it the margin squeeze. What are your thoughts on there?
That's a very, very good question. And a lot of companies you will see, and there is no right answer to that. Why? Because there are a lot of uncertainty within whole supply chain. So once you book your raw material, that raw material producer might be facing labor shortages, or the interest rate, what was 3 months before and what's 3 months today from now, we don't know. It might be 6%, 7%. We don't know the cost of capital. So that brings the inflation up. As I said, the shipping companies, if you are buying from overseas, and hopefully by sea, not by air, the shipping company charges are so much out there, the range from $1,200 to $20,000 a container. So what happened here is the whole idea of putting on the technology AI is to predict. So now let's say we are entering, the artificial intelligence considers all these inputs, geopolitical things inside their intelligence, and say, okay, example, war is not going to go away. So that means fuel prices is not going to go away for next 6 months. So any material I'm going to procure within 6 months, what's my probability of changing the price at the last moment? Or can I go and do a forward contracting? A lot of financial institute, they use this model already. That's why they are saving their face. They are mitigating the risk. But this platform is trying to solve that problem and say, okay, what are my variables? What impacts my input cost? Let's say war in particular zone, as we discussed, shipping cost, political changes. So I'll give you example, elections coming up in certain countries. So it will consider, oh, it's going to, during the election season, I always see 10% rise in prices. or the supply becomes very uncertain. So it inputs all this intelligence and try to give you very nearest answer. Right? You won't be getting 100% accurate answer, no matter which technology you are using. It's impossible to predict. And as I said, it's either you need to be lucky or lousy to get 99% right forecasting or right output, but it will cover your risk. It will give you a clear vision whether you should be covering this risk at this particular moment or wait for some time. So it will give you a guidance kind of things. This technology will give you guidance. So that's where the artificial intelligence help talent to make that informed decisions, not till last moment. Like right now, we don't know. So reverse example, 3 months back, I booked a container from China. I thought the freight is going to be $15,000. So I sold at very high price. Now it's at $1,800. My customer came back and said, oh, huge difference. I cannot afford this, cancel my order. What I'm going to do with this? Either lower my price or change this one, but I already booked with shipping company. I paid advance because I thought it's going to be a shortage. And now people are losing. That's why you see Nike in retail, they have tons of inventory. All the retailers, they are fixed. You see Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's. If you look at those examples, they have billions and billions of dollars. Nike, I put an article on LinkedIn. Nike is right now sitting on $7 billion worth of shoes. Extra inventory, which doesn't move. They are not going to introduce any new design for the holiday season. That much big impact.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, there seems to be one question there. Stephanie, what do you want to ask?
I'm not surprised. The presentation was so good. It was like so much detail and so much information that I'm not surprised we only have one, but here we go. So all of these technologies seem to be too expensive for small companies. Am I right?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? We always hear, and the examples are Walmart or Amazon, and we hear all these buzzwords, but it's like, yeah, but I'm too small for this. Are we seeing it that way, or is there
No, the different perspective here. So yes, they are expensive at the beginning. So now, as I said, I showed you the slide. Remember, people are investing billions and billions of dollars into technology to touch small scale and medium scale industry. So it is expensive. We are not, every company is not Walmarts of the world. Every company is not big brand name like any big petrochemical of the world. But the solution, you don't even need that much solution. If you are handling, let's say, 50 invoices a month, you don't need blockchain to solve your problem. Don't invest. You just don't drag yourself into, and that's what people done mistake when they bought the expensive ERP system, or thinking ERP is the answer for all my inefficiencies. They thought it's a magic thing, and they installed all this good ERP system, let go the legacy way of doing it. Yes, it helps, but you should know what exactly you want to achieve and then make the investment, not buying out of the box pocket and say, okay, now I need to invest $5 million, it will solve my problem. So right. Yes, it is expensive at this stage, but as we said, within next 5 years, the cost will come down drastically because they are now going to touch 70 or 80% of the market. 80% of the market is small and medium scale. So unless they touch that, you won't be able to see this uncertainty going on, right? Going off the market. So they have to, that's a must have for technology to address the small and medium scale, to have the question, what you ask, the inflation, the uncertainty, the pricing, I don't know. So unless everybody comes up to the same platform, this will not go, and it's going to impact everybody as a consumer. Yes, you might be working in a field, you are not directly working with an end consumer, but your product is somehow. Otherwise, there is no use, right? The company is buying a mineral for their manufacturing activity, but that manufacturing activity is going to produce a finished good for a consumer. So they are impacted some way. So unless everybody comes in the same platform, it's going to be very difficult for to address all this situation. That's why we see billions of dollars from Microsoft to a lot of other platform venture capitalists investing in this.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's kind of let's wait and see how it embeds itself, and the cost of entry gets lower. You've laid out some 5 long-term trends that you say you're not going to see go away. I tend to agree with you. As much as people are looking at a recession, or some people are talking about it, I don't think you're going to see it in the pricing structure. So this will be interesting times for sure. So again, thank you very much, Arpit, for presenting your expertise on the topic, and thank you for everybody for paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My pleasure. Bye.